Top HIV scientist says he wouldn't count on a vaccine for coronavirus soon. To be clear, telling someone not to count on something does not mean they think that it is not a probable outcome. I'm not gonna rely on rain putting out a fire, though it doing just that is a very real possibility. Anyone with half a brain wouldn't count on a vaccine soon. https://www. Technology Networks. com/biopharmas/videos/addressing the coronavirus challenge front row lecture with Michael Farzan PhD 333899. Here's a top HIV scientist who lays out a strong argument counter to what this other top HIV scientist is saying. We also have multiple examples now if these vaccines working in animals, and at least one in humans. So yeah, I'm not sure what this guy is talking about. I don't know if these people just need to grab headlines or what, but they're being counterproductive to their cause. If people get hopeless for a vaccine, then more and more people will say fuck it with protective measures and give up. This sub have some twisted fetish about headlines saying that the vaccine wouldn't come soon. So many vaccinologists in this thread. It hasn't been tried at nearly this level before. Or at anything what I would call a serious level before. The guy has legitimately done good work, but he is surveying Jurassic Park and saying Disneyland isn't possible. He isn't current, and isn't comparing modern tech vs this disease. HIV is not COVID, not even close. What I get from that article was that he feels restrictions shouldn't be eased based on a hope that vaccine would be ready. Nobody knows if we are going to have a vaccine soon. China claims to already have found a cure. They are testing on animals. Next they will probably test on Uyghur Muslims who have been willing spending time in re-education camps, and this vaccine will be mass-produced for public use. There is no vaccine yet for HIV that is fully effective, but treatment is very successful. We might need to focus in on treating COVID rather than preventing it. Reddit is plagued by death-worshipping psychopaths who thrive on doomsday hysteria. Hey all. I work in medical testing. I won't pretend to be a medical professional, but all of our studies on vaccines for COVID-19 seem to be going fantastically well. We're making strides in the right direction and the results so far have been quite promising. I'm not sure why many media sources seem to be trying to make the situation seem even more dire. Perhaps the only good news about this virus is how easy it is to work on compared to other diseases. That being said, until we have created the vaccine, take this virus very seriously. It's truly a very damaging disease, and I can't stress this enough, it can kill you. Be careful, social distance, wash your hands, and please, regardless of whether or not you think it's your right not to, wear a mask. It's not a time for political debate, it's a time for critical thinking and logic. This isn't the hill you want to die on. Close everything until vaccine is such a moronic belief. Isn't there literally an experimental vaccine already on human trials? I would be more suspicious if we had a vaccine anytime this year. Thousands of scientists working on this pandemic right now, some are even involved in creating the vaccine, and they're running a story about a HIV scientist. Why? Just like with HIV, medication is what we're likely to find first, and, really, if that's effective, and since this virus does its worst within a month of contracting it, maybe effective medication for those who get COVID-19 is all we need to be able to go back to living normal lives. Soon. WTF does that mean? 6 months? 5 years? 20 years? Too wishy-washy to even tell what he's saying. Nobody reading the goddamn article. I mean, this is typical of Reddit, I suppose. 1. He says countries should be using the isolation approaches some Asian countries are, as it is successfully stopping the progression of the disease now. 2. To be cautious about depending on the success of the current trialing vaccines as they have known limits. 3. That a complete vaccine will be produced. So many headline scientists here, just read the article. The guy is an actual renowned scientist, not you. HIV scientist tests negative. Too many people view the vaccine as the holy grail, which may never be found. It's monumentally stupid to base your COVID strategy on something like that. Phew, glad he isn't a coronavirus scientist. Even without an effective treatment or vaccine, the virus can be controlled by identifying infections, finding people who have been exposed and isolating them, he said. He urged people to wear masks, wash hands, clean surfaces and keep a distance. Well, not all countries can afford this though. There are a lot of people that are irritated by the precautionary measures being taken. SLPT, ask your real estate broker which stocks to invest in. My family is all like they will have a vaccine pretty soon, we'll all be fine. No, they won't, and if we were going to then we would have known it was coming months ago. So unclear. WTF he means by soon? It should have been quantified in the article/interview. Is it possible that this coronavirus will become something that we just live with, like the HIV? Like after some time we just go, it's a pandemic, okay, life goes on. I think the heading on this post needs to be more clear. Reading the article it seems to say that we shouldn't count on a vaccine, not, shouldn't count on a vaccine soon. There's a big difference. Yeah, but everyone with a functioning brain already knew that. Well, hopefully it goes through the rigorous testing any other vaccine should have to go through before being marketed. All the more reason we should not have police-enforced vaccination in America. Top scientist gives an opinion, it's taken as a fact. This sub is going to shit. We'll get a vaccine when I get my stimulus check. So, never. Anyone who seriously hopes and believes a medical treatment will go from zero to finished within a span of less than 10 years has never desperately tried clinical trials to save a loved one. Shout out to those brave photographers who got that close to the virus victory hand pensive face. Silly scientists, Trump confirmed it will be ready by the end of the year. I'm personally a bit concerned taking a vaccine that typically takes months to go through rigorous testing but somehow comes out in half the time. It takes 9 months for a woman to make a baby, with 2 women it doesn't take half that. 10 years of on and off lockdowns would result in obscene numbers of people dying as a result of lost economic development that would have otherwise lifted them out of extreme poverty. The coronavirus on its own can only cause 1 or 2 waves deaths before widespread immunity reduces the death rate, and it itself mutates to milder strains. My wife, a COVID-19 researcher who is working on a vaccine, says this person isn't who you should be trusting when it comes to knowing more about coronaviruses. The many teams working on a vaccine know the score. Don't use scientific semantics for clicks. Let's keep it simple, count on your fingers like everybody else. HIV equals COVID-19. We don't even know what the long-term effects of the virus are yet. The alarming of a Kawasaki-like inflammatory response in children is one example. Add to that the recent discovery that there are genetic variations in the virus depending on where it developed, West vs East Coast, USA as an example, which means a vaccine may not be effective against all strains. For example, some of the genetic mutations have altered the spike protein that many vaccine efforts are targeting. Time to shut Reddit off for a while. We do not need a vaccine for life to go back to normal, but corona will be around forever. Hell, the plague is still around. Obviously a vaccine is the cure and the best way to stop worrying about the impacts of it, but once hospitals begin to clear out, and the virus spread slows, whether because most people have it, or due to the lack of carriers, less people will die and things will be okay again. This is already starting to happen. BTW.